All right, let me ask you something. What if a government agency could actually control your mind? What if they could secretly give their own citizens powerful hallucinogenic drugs and those people would have absolutely no idea it was even happening?
I know. It sounds completely nuts, right? Like something straight out of a Cold War spy thriller.
Well, here's the crazy part. It's not a theory. It's not a movie. For 2 entire decades, this was a top secret and frankly terrifying reality happening inside the CIA.
In this dark, secret reality, it had a name, Project MK Ultra.
Okay, so the first thing you've got to be asking is why? I mean, why on earth would an agency like the CIA even think about doing something like this? Well, the answer, it's all rooted in the pure, uncut paranoia of the Cold War.
You have to understand, a project this extreme doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was born from the absolute peak of Cold War anxiety. The CIA was, well, they were obsessed, and they were just plain terrified of what the Soviets and the Chinese might be up to.
And their fear was really specific. They were getting these reports about Soviet and Chinese brainwashing of American POWs during the Korean War. So in their minds, the communists were on the verge of creating these Manchurian candidate-style assassins. And the CIA's response? It was basically, if they're going to master this dark art, we have to get there first.
And that one decision, that panicked, we have to beat them to it mentality, it opened the door to some of the most disturbing experiments you can possibly imagine. So let's really get into just how far they took this.
So their number one tool, their go-to chemical, was LSD. The whole goal was to see if they could weaponize it. Could they use it like some kind of ultimate truth serum to get secrets out of people? Or, and this is the really chilling part, could they use it to completely wipe and reprogram a human mind?
So who were the test subjects for this? I mean, they weren't exactly putting out ads for volunteers. No, they're secretly dosing prisoners, patients in mental hospitals, and just regular, everyday civilians. Folks who had absolutely no clue they were being turned into human guinea pigs.
And believe me, it gets even seedier. There was one sub-project, and this is its real name, called Operation Midnight Climax. The CIA literally set up brothels where they would lure men, dose them with LSD without their knowledge, and then have agents watch what happened from behind two-way mirrors. It's just wild.
And it wasn't just about LSD either. Oh no, they had a whole toolkit of messed up techniques. We're talking hypnosis, psychological torture, sensory deprivation chambers, basically anything they could think of to try and break down and control the human mind.
And this wasn't some harmless research project. It had a very real human cost. We'll probably never know the full body count, but we do know for a fact that at least one person died as a direct result of being experimented on.
Okay, so after all of that, all the horror, the illegal experiments, the lives affected, you have to wonder, did it even work? Was any of it successful? Let's talk about the final result of this whole thing.
And here's the kicker. After more than a decade of doing all this, the CIA itself came to a conclusion. Their own final report, that reliable mind control just wasn't possible. Just let that sink in for a second. All that suffering, all that abuse of power, the shattered lives, it was all for nothing. The whole entire project, a complete and total failure.
So you can imagine, this was one of the CIA's most tightly guarded secrets for years. Which begs the question, how does a secret this dark ever see the light of day?
All right, so here's how it went down. The project kicks off in 1953. For 20 years, it's deep in the shadows. Then, in 1973, people start sniffing around, so the CIA director orders all the key files to be destroyed, a massive cover-up. But they missed some, and by 1975, congressional investigations found what was left and blew the whole thing wide open to a totally shocked public.
And what came out was just stunning. A massive, horrifying abuse of power by a government agency against its very own people.
Which leads to the biggest, most heartbreaking question of all. How many victims were there? How many lives were destroyed by this? And because of that order to destroy the files, the honest, awful answer is, we just don't know. We will probably never know the true human cost.
And that leaves us with one last, really uncomfortable thought. You know, it's easy to look at this as just some crazy story from the past, but it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If they did this in secret, what else don't we know about?